everybody, and welcome to today's Animal Cam. This is Kristen from Lion Learners East Midlands, and this is the lovely Theo. Theo is one of the most long-standing members of the Lion Learners East Midlands team. He's been with us nearly 7 years now, and he's just over 7 years old. Now, from today, we are going to have a slightly different theme for our animal cams. Up until now, we've just been introducing you to some of our lovely creatures. From today, we are going to use our videos to cover some of the primary science curriculum. And so this week, we are going to be looking at classification and the differences between mammals, reptiles, amphibians, birds, fish, and mini beasts. And this is something that children begin to learn in year 1 at primary school, and then they build on that learning throughout the primary school science curriculum. So hopefully this will be useful for anybody of primary school age, and hopefully also interesting and a little bit fun for people who aren't primary school age, for grown-ups and anybody else that might want to watch the videos. So you might have guessed that today we are going to be learning all about mammals, and that's why Theo is here with us, because rabbits, of course, are mammals, just like here. And there are actually 5,000 different species of mammal on the planet, including human beings. So we are mammals too, and all mammals have things in common, and that's what we're going to learn a little bit about today, all of the things that mammals have in common. So whilst we learn a bit more about mammals, let's put Theo to one side. And I'm going to bring one of my other mammals in as well. I'm going to go and get Percy, who's just out of shot. Okay, let's bring Percy in too. This is Percy. And Percy is also a mammal. He's a little guinea pig. And he has something in common with Theo and most other mammals too. Percy is covered in fur. And all mammals, apart from those that live in the ocean, where fur isn't hugely useful, have some fur or hair on their bodies, and that helps to keep them warm. And that means that some mammals can live in pretty cold climates, like polar bears, for example, that live at the North Pole, where it's very, very cold and snowy. And their fur is part of the reason why they can do that. They have a fur coat which keeps them nice and warm. And linked into that is another thing about mammals. Mammals are warm-blooded, and that means that their bodies inside stay exactly the same temperature all of the time, no matter what happens outside. So if they go outside on a chilly day, Theo doesn't mind doing that at all, do you, Theo? Theo doesn't mind going out in the cold. He loves to be outside in the garden. Their bodies inside stay the same temperature. And so everything still works absolutely fine, whatever the weather is doing. And they have two ways of staying warm. Firstly, their lovely furry coats. And for those mammals that live in very cold habitats, blubber as well under their fur. But also, mammals use a lot of energy from food to power their bodies and keep them warm. And that means that mammals certainly eat a lot. Hey, Percy, guinea pigs love to eat. They need to eat every day. And for rabbits and guinea pigs, a lot of the day, they spend a lot of time eating. Some of the other animals that we have at Lion Learners, some of our reptiles and our mini beasts, can go weeks, sometimes months, without eating anything at all. And that's because they aren't using energy from their food to keep their bodies warm in the way that mammals are. And certainly we're mammals. We certainly wouldn't want to go weeks without food, and certainly neither would Percy. And so it does mean that our mammals also make quite a lot of mess. They wee and poo a lot, don't you, Percy, everywhere, because they are eating a lot, and so there's a lot coming out at the other end. But those two things mean the fact that they're warm-blooded and they're covered in fur mean that they can live in various different habitats where perhaps a reptile wouldn't be able to live. Now, while we learn about the next thing, or about our mammals, let's put Percy back. Right. Percy's not been with us for very long, so sometimes he gets a little bit nervous. And we're going to meet another of the mammals here at Lion Learners East Midlands. So while we learn the next fact, where are they? There we go, let's have you. So this is Sunflower. And Sunflower is also a mammal. He's a mammal called an African soft-furred rat. So rats and mice and all other rodents, hamsters, gerbils, they are all mammals too. And as you can see, he's wearing a lovely furry coat. Oops, there we go. There we go. Now, mammals like Sunflower, and all mammals actually, are special in the way that they arrive on the planet. They are different from all of the other types of creature that you're going to meet during the week because they don't come from an egg. So mammals have live babies. And Sunflower was actually born here at Lyme Learners East Midlands 2 years ago, so he's a bit of an old man now. He's been with us his whole life. So his mum didn't lay eggs. She had babies from her tummy, and then she fed the babies with milk when they were really, really small and kept them warm in a nest because they didn't have their furry coats yet. And so mammals make really, really good mothers, and sometimes they live in family groups, so dads get involved as well, and they look after the babies while they're small. Not all types of animals do that, but mammals do until the babies are ready to not need to be with their parents anymore. And they grow up quite quickly. Sunflower and the rest of his litter actually with mum for about 5 or 6 weeks before they didn't need her anymore, before they were all grown up. And I don't know if you'll be able to see these. I have a few pictures. So this is what Sunflower's litter were like when they were maybe a week old. So mum had them in a little nest where she was keeping them nice and warm and cozy, because you can see they're only just starting to get their furry coats. So at that age, they need mum to keep them nice and warm. And she fed them milk. And I have a sneaky picture here when they were probably getting a bit big for this, but there is mum and Sunflower's litter having a sneaky drink from mum. So they're getting a drink of milk from mum because they were just at that age where they're starting to eat and drink other things, but to start off their life, they just have milk just like a human baby does. So those are the things that make mammals unique. They have a fur coat to keep them warm, they're warm-blooded, and they have live babies. They don't come from an egg. Also, let's see if I can show you on Sunflower. Most mammals walk on 4 legs. With a few exceptions. Obviously, we don't walk on 4 legs, we walk on 2, but we do have 4 limbs. We have 2 arms as well as 2 legs. So most mammals have 4 legs, unlike some other types of creature. Oh, there we go. Sunflower says, I don't really want to show you my 4 legs. Maybe the next creature will do that. Quickly before we finish, we are going to meet one more mammal. Let's put Sunflower back in. Cover him up so he doesn't jump out of his travel box while we're not watching. And the last mammal is in here. So can you guess, from what we've learned so far about mammals, what his body is going to be covered in? Let's meet him and find out. Theo has been a superstar beside me. Isn't he, Theo? He knows to sit on his cushion. Good boy. Okay. Oops. This is our last mammal. This is Dobby. So Dobby looks most similar to Sunflower, more like Sunflower than some of the other creatures that we've met. But he's got a furry coat on, just like you might have guessed, which means that he is a mammal. And hopefully, if I lift Dobby up, ooh, there we go. You can see he has 2 legs at the front and 2 little legs at the back as well. So he has 4 feet. And Dobby is a creature called the Duprezi, which is a fat-tailed gerbil. So he is related to both hamsters and gerbils. And he is a desert mammal. So living in the desert is quite tricky. It's quite tricky for anybody, but certainly for a mammal, because they have a furry coat on and they need to eat and drink a lot. That's the way that they work. And so it's only a few special mammals that can live in the desert. Dobby manages to live there by staying underground during the day in tunnels and burrows that he's dug. So he'll be fast asleep underground right now if he was in the desert. So he stays out of the sunshine and the heat of the day and then he would get up at night time. And also he has this pretty weird fat tail, which is very different from Sunflower's tail that he uses to balance and climb. Dobby's tail is a store. So in there he has a store of water and energy, just in case there's nothing at all that he can eat and drink for a little while. And he would use that store to keep him going until he found another source of food and water. And then so his tail would go very thin, a bit more like Sunflower's tail. And then once he found a source of food, it would get fatter again, and so he would save some energy for next time. So that's a special adaptation to life in the desert that this particular mammal has. And you'll learn a little bit more once we get particularly onto the year 2 stuff about habitat adaptation, and also get a chance to meet some more, let's put Dobby down there, of the Lion Learners mammals as we learn other bits of the science curriculum at the same time. So, things to remember then: mammals are furry, they're warm-blooded, they have live babies, they don't lay eggs, and most of them walk or hop or run on 4 legs, just like Theo the bunny. Tune in tomorrow for more Animal Can, where I think you are going to learn all about amphibians. Bye for now, and we'll see you tomorrow.